Who are you and what do you do?
My name is Jose Bohorquez. I'm president of a company called Bold. We focus on IoT product development, so great leading from Alex's talk, but particularly focused on medical devices and cybersecurity.
Tell me, what does IoT development mean?
So IoT, as Alex mentioned, it's essentially products that connect to the cloud. And in medical devices, it's a new trend that I think is going to have tremendous impact on outcomes. Yesterday's talk from ResMed is a great example. So now you're able to not only deploy medical devices, but get all of that data coming to the cloud. That not only has important benefits to the product, but also to the data analytics you can do on the back end to understand how your product is being used, what features could be added in the future. You can send over-the-air firmware updates, for example, to improve the functionality of a device that's already been deployed. You can do things like understand where users are getting stuck, like how the product could be improved. And I think that it's going to be tremendously impactful, even in understanding diseases better, because a clinical trial with 100 patients is very expensive. When you deploy a product that's being used by tens of thousands of patients and have the ability to then analyze that de-identified data, I think we're going to be finding that certain diseases are actually a variety of diseases, and you can silo them and understand how to treat different ones differently. So the opportunity is huge, but the crux of it is devices, medical devices that ultimately send data to the cloud.
How old is your company? Because, boy, is data from medical devices on trend.
Yeah, we're fairly young. We've only been around for about 2.5 years, but the team is extremely experienced, and I've been in the IoT world since its inception for about 7 or 8 years. And part of this is our partnership, right? So one of my partners is the former chief software architect for Motorola. So his experience in the world of connected devices comes from long heritage. Yeah, and the cybersecurity aspect of it too. So he's the kind of guy that gets called into the NSA and DISA and the CIA to talk about cybersecurity. IoT and medical devices, cybersecurity is real key, right? Because nobody wants to have a device that puts their life at risk or even just their data at risk.
Have you had any clients either before it happened or after it happened as an emergency that had one of these breaches that has gotten so much publicity?
We haven't had anybody get a breach, knock on wood. But I can tell you, it's one of those things where we're hyper-focused on it. And FDA's become more and more focused on it, so you have to make sure that even in the development phase, not only because you want your products to be secure, but you want to make sure you're compliant as well.
There's a reason I'm sitting on this side of the interview instead of that. I really don't understand the complexity of all of this stuff. And I imagine that when it comes time to shop for someone who's going to help me with data in the cloud, there must be categories and subcategories and subcategories. Can you help me understand where specifically do you fit in that array of services, and perhaps who specifically needs your service versus one of those other things that I don't really understand?
So if you're developing a product that you want to ultimately connect to the cloud, we can help. And we do anything from full product development, industrial design, mechanical engineering, electronics, firmware, iOS, Android, cloud, so the full architecture. We can help you, right? And sometimes we support a particular section of that development. Sometimes we do full product development. The thing to note is that despite the complexity of these products, they tend to have very similar architectures, right? And they can be completely different products, but have very similar architectures in the sense that, as an example, over-the-air firmware updates, right? You can have two completely different products that would still benefit from getting an update to the software from the cloud, right? Just like how today, if you drive a Tesla, you can wake up one morning and your car's faster because it's gotten an over-the-air firmware update. The same thing with medical devices. Doing that the first time is very challenging and prone to mistakes, but once you've done it 3, 4, 7, 10 times, you not only know what to do, you actually have building blocks that if somebody comes in, you can utilize those building blocks to implement it much more efficiently than somebody trying to do it from scratch. So because we're focused on IoT products and medical devices, we're able to leverage a lot of what we build and launch products much faster than if you go to a firm that, they do everything under the sun. Well, they probably haven't built out that expertise specifically in IoT product development.
I caught most of what you said.
Okay, good.
But what I really heard was blah, 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 data, ask Jose.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.